Greetings and welcome to our parent leadership session on advocacy and empowerment. We're excited to have you join us. Today we have Tiara Mahoney Polino, who will present and share great information with us. But before we get started, we'd like to share with you how you can engage with us. For translation support in the top right corner, please click Captions, then click Show Live Captions, and you will see a drop-down menu to select the language of your choice.
This is Tiara, your presenter. I am going to translate that for the Spanish-speaking callers on the line. Si necesita ayuda con o apoyo con la traducción, en el rincón arriba a mano derecha vas a hacer clic en la palabra captions. De ahí vas a hacer clic donde dice Show Live Captions. Y finalmente puedes elegir el español desde el menú. Gracias. De ahí la información, las capciones le pueden salir en español de todo lo que estamos hablando en inglés.
Next slide, we're going to share how you can engage with us. Tiara, if you would just hit the next slide for us. Here's how to engage while joining us in this session. Click the Q&A and type your question in the box. These questions will be monitored throughout the presentation, and we will have a dedicated time for question and answers at the end of the presentation. But please feel free to share your reactions during the presentation as you see appropriate. We'd also like to hear from you. Share your feedback so that you can be entered into a raffle for a $100 gift card drawing. We will contact you via email on Friday, March 28th. So please share your feedback, and the bit.ly is listed on this screen. At this time, I'd like to introduce Tiara Mahoney Paulino. She's the owner and principal consultant of Dual Vita Consulting, and she will be our presenter for today. Tiara?
Thank you, Dr. Yo. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiara Mahoney Paulino. As Dr. Yo stated, I am the owner and principal consultant of Dual Vita Consulting, but I like to say that my top two titles are as a wife and mother. I have two children who are CMS students. My eldest attends one of the world language schools, and then my son attends a pre-K program. And then I have twin daughters who are 3, so they're not quite CMS students yet, but they will be soon to come. Just want to highlight my contact information available to you. If you have any questions or concerns or would like to stay in touch with me, feel free to use that information. It will also be shared again at the end. And again, I just want to welcome everyone and say thank you again for taking the time to be here. You had a choice with where you wanted to be or could be, and you chose to be here to contribute to this collective conversation on parent leadership. So I'm so excited to engage with you this afternoon. We're going to start by setting our intentions. By the end of our time together today, you will have or know how to find the answers to these questions. What mindset should I have as an advocate for my child? What does an empowered parent leader do? What does accountability look like, and how do I stay informed? Why are relationships important in advocacy? And what are my rights as a CMS parent? While there are some innate traits we may all have in terms of advocating for our children, advocacy, I want to highlight, can also be a learned skill. What happens more often than not is that it can seem daunting and we can allow fear to get in the way. To that, I would like to pose the following quote. It's from one of my favorite actors, Will Smith, in the movie After Earth. I fell in love with this quote when the movie came out. The movie didn't do so well, but that's neither here nor there. But this quote, I think, really sums up fear and how we can have a more positive approach to it. He states, "Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice." I would just like to highlight for us that challenges may be very real. The idea of speaking up or not wanting to ruffle feathers, that's real. But the fear of speaking up is often rooted in uncertainty. So we can choose to act despite that fear, and that is what advocacy is all about. Instead of allowing fear to keep us silent, we make sure that our child is successful. We can push past that fear for our children, and ultimately, as we all know, our child's needs are have greater priority than any discomfort that we'll experience. Let's take some action, and we'll be doing this a lot throughout our time together today. Write down one fear or doubt you or someone else may have about advocating. And then write down one way you already advocate. That can be school or non school related. If you choose a non school related topic, what would that type of advocacy look like in regards to school? And I'll give you about 20 to 30 seconds of thought time, jot time to be able to write down your answers to those questions, to those prompts. I know for me, given my experience as a teacher, the number one doubt that I would face would be feeling like the teacher may be too busy and I don't want to add to anything that they already have going on because I literally understand what it's like to be them. And that's something that I had to push past because when it comes to my children's success, I need to stand up for them. I'm their best advocate, their number one advocate. Let's talk about being empowered parent leaders. So, first things first, we want to define empowerment. Empowerment is the process of gaining knowledge, confidence, and the ability to take control over one's circumstances. For parents, this means recognizing our influence and taking an active role in our children's education. Oftentimes, I've experienced encounters where we may take a passive approach as parents. And so today, I would like to engage you and challenge you to take an active approach to your leadership. Some examples: a passive thought might be, I'll wait for the teacher to reach out after thinking about something interesting or hearing about something interesting from your child during the school day. Maybe you think, I don't want to make a fuss. I'll just wait until the teacher reaches out. An active way to think about that is, my child mentioned something interesting about school today. It concerns me. And even though it could be nothing or my child may have misunderstood, I'm going to send a parent square message to the teacher and ask. In regards to a different example, maybe about the grading policy. I don't understand this grading policy, but the teacher must know what they're doing. I'll just wait and see what happens. An active thought would be, I don't understand this grading policy, so I will review the school's website and, if needed, email the teacher for clarification. Last example. I heard about a program that might help my child, but I'm not sure how to apply. I'll just hope the school reaches out if my child qualifies. Active thought. I heard about a program that might help my child. I'm going to contact the school counselor to ask about eligibility and how to apply. You can see that in each of these examples, the problem is still the same. The approach is what shifts. What are the steps that we can take as parent leaders, especially in regards to creating initiative? Because we're not wrong. People are busy. They're doing their work. They're taking care of our kids, and they may not. These things, if we take a passive approach, may not come across their mind. But again, we are our children's number one advocate. We are who needs to stand up for them, ask questions on their behalf to ensure their success. And so, taking the active approach where we get the opportunity to initiate the conversations around the different items that we may need for our children is the best approach. Speaking of taking action, I would like to challenge you in this moment or encourage you in this moment to write down one situation you are currently facing or have faced in the past and how you might shift your actions from passive to active. If you feel as though you already use an active stance, I would like for you to write down in what ways being active makes you feel empowered as a parent leader. I'll give you about 20 or 30 seconds of thought time, jot time to get this information down, to get your answers to these prompts down. I know one big one that may be on everybody's mind is summer opportunities. And yes, we get information from the schools. Um, But in the process, I've found that as I reach out to my children's schools, I find out information maybe even slightly earlier than other parents might, just for reaching out, because maybe they're collecting the information to wrap it up nice and put it in a nice little bow to be able to send out. But because I reach out, they're able to share that information at least, minimally, and then say, and be on the lookout for more information coming soon. Another topic that's very important when we think about advocacy for our children is accountability. So let's take a moment to define accountability just so that have a level playing field with it. Accountability means taking responsibility for ensuring expectations and commitments are met. In schools, this applies to educators, administrators, and even us parents as well. Here are some strategies for holding educators accountable while also maintaining partnership. First, you want to make sure that you sow positive seeds from the beginning. Start the school year by making a strong introduction. Show that you're open to a productive relationship where you and the teacher, counselor, or administrator are on the same team. Acknowledge the challenges of their work and offer help where needed and where your capabilities lie. This sets the foundation for effective collaboration. If we think about in our own lives who we're accountable to, whether it's just ourselves, our spouses, partners, our parents, our children, even, part of what makes the accountability actually work um, is the relationship that we have with the other person. For those of you who work out, think about your trainer. You have a relationship with your trainer such that when your trainer is giving you the critical feedback of, oh, that squat wasn't low enough, or you can do 20 more push ups. We have a relationship with them to know that they mean the best. And so we're able to receive whatever that critical feedback may be in a more calm way. A great comrade of mine, Christie's, has said this quote to me once: we can only move at the speed of trust. And so trust comes from establishing a relationship. And so it's important to make sure early on that we engage with the educators around our children to go ahead and create the space, the atmosphere for a really positive relationship, so that then if there comes a time when we need to hold those same educators accountable, they can understand, and we can also understand that it comes from a instead of, you're just trying to tell me how to do my job or you're stepping on my toes. We can rid ourselves of any of those hesitancies by beginning with setting up the foundation for a positive relationship. I would also like to encourage you when it comes to accountability to be sure to offer solutions, not just complaints. So when you're giving critical feedback, frame it as problem solving rather than just criticism. Here's an example. If your child often comes home without their daily folder, instead of simply asking the teacher to check more carefully, you could offer a solution. Hey, I notice my child forgets their folder often. Excuse me, would it help if I made an end of school day checklist for them to promote independence? This keeps the conversation constructive. And rather than giving the teacher an added task to do, or again, potentially making them feel as though you think they can't do their job well, you come to the conversation in a solution oriented manner, which also continues to further the level of trust between you and the educator, and then therefore can again create space for this crucial accountability that we're talking about. Our last suggestion, as far as what it means, a strategy for creating the atmosphere for crucial accountability, is to assume positive intent. So assume the best. Relationships falter when we assume ill intent. So we want to make sure that we are framing any situation that we're in when it comes to our child and their schooling, assuming the best about the people involved. So, for example, instead of thinking it's been 2 days and the teacher hasn't responded, this is unacceptable, I'm calling the principal. Try thinking, it's been 2 days and I haven't heard back. They may be busy or may have forgotten to reply, like I sometimes do. That's me. How many of us have read a text message or an email and replied in our mind and didn't actually type the words out? Okay. Let me send a follow up message. This approach again fosters understanding and keeps the communication open. Nobody wants for their boss to be called on them for having a simple human error of having read a message and forgetting to reply. Okay? We've all done it. We all do it. So, this approach again, assuming positive intent, taking action, initiating the conversation again, allows for this opportunity for accountability to be held, but then also maintain a positive vibe for the relationship. Let's take some action again. List 2 to 3 people you should check in with at your child's school. These could be teachers, counselors, administrators. Also, list next to each person 3 to 5 words describing what you may need to connect about. We're keeping it short because we're just jotting down our little list for ourselves. Then mark each list entry with exclamation points based on their level of priority. So if it's high priority, maybe you've got 3, 4, 5 exclamation marks next to it. If it's low priority, maybe only one. This will help you set up your list to prioritize who you need to contact the soonest. So I'm going to give you um, 20 to 30 seconds of thought time and jot time to be able to respond to these prompts. For me, one of my children recently had a birthday, and so I needed to reach out to his teacher um, to start coordinating what that celebration at school would look like. And so I had that on my priority list, and um, we were able to celebrate him very well because I took the time to figure out. I didn't have the information about. I knew that birthdays were being celebrated at the school, but I didn't know how. So I took that initiative. I didn't wait on the teacher to say, "Hey, your child's birthday coming up is coming up. Are you planning on celebrating?" I took that initiative and reached out to her. So it could be something, simple and fun like that. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this is going wrong, that kind of thing. Relationships, not only with the educators who surround our children, are important, but also our relationships with each other can be very powerful, very meaningful to our ability to advocate. So let's define relationships for this particular space that we're talking about now. Relationships in advocacy refer to intentional connections that provide access to information, resources, and support systems that benefit a child's education. I think one of the biggest things for me as a parent with school age children is being able to level set with other parents and caregivers as far as their experiences are with their children. For example, one of my sweet, sweet children often forgets things, whether it's to bring from school to home or to bring from home to school and everything in between. And being able to connect with other parents in the community who have children around the same age really helps me as a parent, again, to level set and be able to say, okay, this is normal. Okay, here are some strategies that these other parents and caregivers are able to give me, and helps, ease my desire for control or whatever it may be that's getting me flustered each time my child forgets these things. And so that's just one way that building relationships with other parents, caregivers in the community can contribute to your ability to advocate, freeing up your mind space so you understand you're not the only one. This isn't only happening to you. And to also have some thought partnership around solutions as well. So that is one of the biggest things that I want to say before we move into further conversation about relationships as far as advocacy is concerned. So why do relationships matter? Strong relationships make critical conversations easier. When trust is established, which we spoke about before, difficult conversations become more productive. We're able to be in a space, again, coming from a space of love and encouragement and positivity, and we're able to have these more challenging conversations. A strong relationship allows positive intent to be assumed more naturally. This reduces anxiety about how concerns might be perceived. And when you know each other, there's less fear about coming off as aggressive or uninformed because mutual understanding already exists. Advocacy is definitely a team sport. Champions and partners can strengthen advocacy. When we think about champions, these are people who are already in the space or the system that we feel like we're going up against our Goliaths, if you will, to our Davids. And then partners are other people who have a similar issue or a similar desire who can stand alongside us, or have a similar goal who can stand alongside us and help us make progress toward the goal. Advocacy is 100% not meant to be a solo effort. Let me repeat that for everyone listening. Advocacy is not meant to be a solo effort. Just like in team sports, one player can make a difference, but it's the collective effort, teamwork, and camaraderie that actually win the game. Having allies, whether it's teachers, administrators, or other parents, can make it easier to push for what's right. When you don't feel alone, standing up to systemic challenges becomes a lot less daunting. When you don't feel alone, standing up to systemic challenges becomes a lot less daunting. Let's take some action again. Take some time, and I'm going to give you a little bit more time because this might call for a quick Google search. Write down one resource or person to connect with for support. So this could be the PTA or PTO at your school. This could be an organization that advocates for children who have needs similar to or the exact same as your child. This could be a sports organization or a character building organization that you might want to reach out to see if they can offer some services at your school, if that what that would look like. And then here's the key. Schedule a time in your calendar, and yes, I do mean right now. So whether you do that on a phone or in a paper agenda or on your computer, schedule a time in your calendar to connect with that resource or person. So even if you might not know that other person's schedule, I want you to schedule a time in your calendar to say, I'm going to call that person or reach out to that person or that organization and set up a time for us to actually talk. I'm going to give you about 30 to 40 seconds of thought time, jot time to be able to respond to these two prompts. I know for me, my daughter's very much into nature and getting outdoors. Um, and we're actually interested in potentially bringing um, a Parks and Recreation representative to the school to just kind of extend her love for nature to her classmates. So that's one of the things that I know that I need to do. Schedule some time to connect with that resource and see what may be able to happen. All right, rolling into our final topic for today in regards to advocacy and empowerment. The number one thing, and I think foundational tool that you can use is knowing what your rights are. I believe that when you know your rights, it automatically allows you to feel more empowered because it's right there in print, black and white, however you would like to refer to it. And so it's clear that if that particular right isn't being met for you as a parent, that you have a tool from which you can set a foundation to establish the connections, the relationships that will lead to you getting that resource that you need. So, before we go in further about rights, let's define parental rights. So, parental rights are legal entitlements to make informed decisions about your child's education. And I would like to double down on that informed decisions part because as parents, most of us don't have experience in education other than our own schooling. And if we didn't experience some of the challenges that our children experience now, we might not even be fully aware of whole portions of the system that may be necessary as far as our engagement with our child's school is concerned. And so this is why it's very important for us to make sure that we are able to make informed decisions. We have the opportunity to be educated around the decision that we're actually making so that we can be sure that the decision that we're making is indeed the right one for our children. So I wanted to highlight just a few um, rights from the Parent Bill of Rights from CMS. Again, this is just a few. The full list can be found at the link on this page. Dr. Yo is also going to place that in the Q&A space. Just a few, again, of your rights in CMS. You have access to educational and health information. Parents have the right to access and review their child's educational and health records. This includes information on academic performance, attendance, and any health services provided at the school. Parents have the right to participate in parent-teacher organizations or PTAs, allowing them to engage in their child's educational experience and collaborate with educators to enhance school programs. Another right that you have as a parent in CMS is opt in for certain data collections. You have certain data collection, excuse me. Parents have the right to opt in to specific data collection for their child, ensuring they have control over the information gathered and used by the school. Again, this list is by no means exhaustive. I just wanted to highlight a few for our conversation today. The full list can be found at this link here. Dr. Yo is going to place that in the Q&A space. And also, if for any reason you can't get access to the link, I was actually able to find this page through a simple Google search of CMS Parent Bill of Rights. We've reached a point where it's time to take action again. Just do a quick self-check. Do you know how to request a meeting with your child's teacher or principal? If you do you know how to access your students' grades and assessment data? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then you already have your action item for what you need to do next. If you can answer yes to both of these questions, then your action item and action item for everyone is to go to that web page with the Parent Bill of Rights through CMS and review that information there to again put yourself in the position to be able to make informed decisions. Some final thoughts here, emphasizing some points that we've talked about today. Prioritize your child's needs over fear. Advocacy starts with overcoming doubt and stepping up for your child's success. Be an empowered parent leader. Shift from a passive leadership style to an active leadership style by taking initiative and engaging with educators effectively. Hold others accountable and stay informed. Build partnerships with educators by assuming positive intent, providing solutions, and maintaining open communication. Build relationships and seek support. Strong relationships make advocacy easier, and allies help parents push for systemic change. Know your rights as a parent. Parents have rights to access information, participate in school organizations, and control certain data collection within CMS. You have many, many, many more rights as a parent. Again, I encourage you to head over to that webpage through the CMS website to find out more information about that. Our last action item for today. I want you to write one advocacy goal to be completed within the next 30 days. And you can choose to add some accountability for yourself by adding what the goal that you have chosen to the Q&A space to just put it out there into the atmosphere. I'll give you 20 to 30 seconds of jot time, thought time. If you're looking for ideas, maybe you can start a community. So maybe you can start a Facebook group or a group chat involving people in your school community. Maybe your step is to reintroduce yourself to your child's school counselor because you see that your child may be struggling socially or with their own esteem, and you want to reach out in that manner. And with that, we've come to the end of our session. So I'll give you the opportunity to place any final questions in the Q&A box. We've also been monitoring as things have gone along. So my partner over in CMS, Dr. Yo, will share any questions that have come forward.
Thank you, Tiara. And there are no questions in the chat as we speak, but I would really like to know if a parent has a child at several different schools, how would you encourage the level of empowerment and advocacy as well as making those informed decisions with the different levels?
That's a very solid question, Dr. Yo. I think first things first is really, again, going back to what we talked about with initiating a strong relationship. So, kind of getting ahead of things, if you will. As a parent myself with children at different schools, one of the things that I said to myself, especially early on, was I was going to try to keep my conversations universal. So if I found myself introducing myself to someone new at one school, then I wanted to find someone new that I could introduce myself to at the other schools. My twins are actually in a preschool, not CMS school, but they're in preschool. So I have the same type of interaction there. So that would be my first thing, is just to kind of create some ease for yourself, create a path of least resistance for yourself by beginning with just some initially universal conversations. I do recall also my check-ins with the teachers were very similar. How's my child doing academically? How's my child doing socially? Are there any things that I need to be made aware of? That kind of thing. And then from there, and I know it can be challenging because as parents and caregivers, it feels like we're already stretched all over the place. I like to have what I call parent partners. So it might not be a whole group. You might not be able to throw yourself fully into the PTA or the PTO, but finding a parent who is in your child's class or in your child's grade who's receiving similar information and kind of creating the relationship where you all let each other know what's going on, what's happening. You're able to ask each other questions. And again, that can create that team atmosphere that we talked about so that if there are any issues that arise, you kind of already have a built-in partner or team member to be able to help you with the advocacy work at the school level. So those would be my two initial things. Create a path of least resistance by, creating some general universal conversations in the beginning. And then of course, as the year unfolds, your different children's needs will unfold as well. And so those conversations will get more specific and more differentiated. And then also finding your parent partner, a fellow caregiver who has similar experiences, child same age, child in the same class, child in the same grade, child in the same sports activities, so that they can kind of serve as a thought partner and an information sharer as well.
Thank you. That is great, great information. And I love what you shared about creating a path of least resistance. And providing some additional resources that families can use. That's really great. And just wanted to say thank you because the information you've shared is very powerful and it holds a lot of weight and value for our parents as they think about advocating and knowing that it is not a solo effort, being champions and building those relationships with parents as they empower each other, and then also knowing their rights so they can make informed decisions. That's great information that you've shared with us, and we truly appreciate that. And so let's thank Tiara Mahoney Paulino, who has presented some great information, a lot of wisdom and knowledge for us as parents. She's with Dual Vita Consulting, and she is the owner. When we continue to provide great information in sessions like this, we want to stay stronger together and engaging our community. So we have several in-person events that the Family and Community Engagement Department is launching throughout the next couple of months as we strategize for 2025 and 2026 school year. We have an in-person event that's coming up, a parent listening tour Thursday, April 3rd. It's in person at the Ada Jenkins Center. It is from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. and it is located at 212 Gamble Street, Davidson, North Carolina. We'll also host virtual sessions for parents to log on to and share their voices during this listening tour. We want feedback from you. It is Tuesday, April 8th from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m., as well as Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, from 1 to 2 p.m. And so we're excited about those opportunities to continue to grow in strength and in number. We have additional events that are taking place across the district in our Family and Community Engagement Department, and that is our Family Academy on the Go, where we will have a lunch and learn on every Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. And we have sessions that you can continuously log into and click on if you've missed any of those sessions. And we also have Family Academy on the Go virtually as well. And so we're excited about those opportunities for our parents to stay involved, engaged, and informed, right? So we can continue to increase those platforms of advocacy and empowerment. One of the biggest events that we usually host each year is our back to school celebration, and that will be August 9th, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It is basis loaded back to school celebration. We want you to join us for this exciting event. It'll take place at the Truist Arena, and we are excited. We want parents to come out Saturday, August 9th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you have, it's rain or shine now. You'll have lots of free events. Lunch will be provided, and you'll receive free school supplies. We also have special areas with our CMS Family Academy, Health and Wellness, our CMS Hub, and Family Fun Zone. So we encourage you to save the date and join us for that wonderful event. And last but not least, we want to continue to embrace the excellence of being engaged, empowered, and elevated within our families as we grow together. And so click on this particular link, or I should say, scan the QR code to hear more about sessions and how we're being involved in the community and sharing information to empower our families with the necessary tools and support. And last but not least, we mentioned this earlier in the beginning of our presentation, we want to hear from you. So take a moment to click that bit.ly link or to type in that bit.ly link and share your feedback. As a result of sharing your feedback, you will be entered into a raffle for a $100 gift card, and winners will be contacted via email on Friday, March 28th. So thank you so much, families, for joining us today. We look forward to having you engaged with us with some additional parent leadership sessions that we will host for you.